is episode 9 for the week of April 2nd, 2012. This week we discuss why moving sucks, along with Paths of Exile, a free-to-play Diablo clone. And we have a large discussion about arcades, our favorite arcade games, and our experiences in them. And we also discuss this week's Moviebox pick, 13 Assassins. Hello and welcome to All Talk. I am Mark, aka Dakazu, from the forums, and who is with me this week?
Don, aka Biggie.
Dave, aka BobLoblaw.
Jake, aka Mr. X.
Rodney,
aka Rodney. And Andrew, aka Totoro.
Way to fail, Rodney.
what am I supposed to say?
You
No,
need to say
AKA.
Rodney, aka Rodney, from the forums.
That's stupid.
I prefer
it's
Hacker
stupid.
Alias, but
But
like
that's
Kevin.
your fault.
Can we call you
Kevin, aka Kevin.
Can we call you Mr. Jen?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Mr. Jen, okay.
The Canadian Mr. Jen.
So Don, Dave, Rodney, welcome. Thanks for
Thanks.
joining us this week.
no problem.
Podcasts are fun.
So Jake and I don't get anything?
You guys are already here. I have to deal with your asses like every week. Almost every
Twice.
day.
Deal with.
Regulars.
You're like white.
You mean you get to have the pleasure of being in our company.
Exactly.
Something
Whatever
like
you
that.
guys whatever you
to-
guys want to call it.
We grace you with our presence.
Uh-huh.
I'm starting to feel a little graced. Got it.
Oh, you've been graced.
So, Drew,
Yo.
you moved.
Yeah, I literally moved today, the day we're recording this on Saturday. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty dog tired right now, but I'm gonna power through this tonight. And
Well, that's what moving does. Moving is tiring and stressful.
Did you hire any movers or anything?
no, well, we had some help. Like my brother came over, my brother-in-law, one of our family friends, came over and was helping us. But
People you
Yeah,
haven't
pretty-
spoke to in like 10 years, you call them up and say, hey, can you help? How's it going?
Yeah,
Did you have
totally.
a
Got a
picture?
pizza.
yeah, well, and we did get people something to eat both this morning when we loaded up the truck, and I moved from north of Indianapolis down to the Louisville area, Louisville, Kentucky. So it was about a 2.5 hour drive. But so there were a few people who helped us in Anderson, where I'm from, then packed up and drove down here, 2.5 hours later. And
So
it
did
was
you get everything?
How big a truck?
it was a 24-foot truck, and I
Diesel?
didn't want to
Diesel
drive
truck?
diesel.
Oh my god, who
Size-
cares? Does that matter?
So it
Size
had
of truck totally matters.
well, it was really nerve-wracking because my wife Holly was driving the truck, and when we No,
We're gonna
oh
tell
my
her you
God.
said that.
well she's fine with it, but she was driving the truck, and when we were going to pick it up, like a couple things that made me really uncomfortable happened. One, the guy says, the total weight of this thing, loaded up, is just like 100 pounds short of what is required, to have like a CDL to drive. So that was one thing. The other thing was that we were looking at like the insurance to cover it, like through them. It was going to be like 100 extra bucks, which I've been unemployed for about 2 months now. So like 100 bucks was like not in the cards. So it was just like, be very, very careful.
So it was
Driving
the
it,
most
so.
stressful drive of all time?
Well,
Doesn't your
yeah.
regular driver's insurance cover?
No, it doesn't, because of the size of the truck. And I think through that particular company, they just do not cover it.
Does that company start
So-
with a U?
No, it was a budget truck.
Oh, I see.
So
That's probably
it was,
why.
yeah. I don't even know if they cover U-Hauls, which I assume is what you were referring to. But I was sitting
It
there
is.
thinking about it. I was sitting there thinking about it on Thursday, and I thought to myself, there is one thing that I know exists kind of in the realm of fiction, which would mean that it doesn't exist at all, that would just make this point completely moot. And if I had a portal gun, I would use it to start a moving company.
Portal
That's
gun?
the one thing. You're not going to use teleporters from Star Trek?
Yeah, you could just use like a transporter.
Yeah, I would just
A
I would
space
just,
elevator? There's a couple things here in
You
fiction.
wouldn't
that
even
can
have
help
to. With a portal gun, you'd actually have to move it. If you had a transporter, you could just type it into a computer and then say, "Beam it over there."
you. Ask
Well,
Scotty,
yeah,
you're all
maybe.
done.
Yeah, I guess so. But I would. It was just at the time I was seeing like people post things online, and it was like, if the first thing I'd have to do if I had a portal gun, I was like, yeah, I know what I would do. But anyway, yeah, I mean, over extremely long distances, I could see how a transporter would be very helpful. But I was sitting there thinking,
Well, you have to be careful though with like teleporters and stuff. You could end up with a total Brundlefly situation.
No, but
Oh, yeah.
But that'd be an entertaining week.
the
Would.
portal gun, you gotta like walk from one place to the other to make the hole. That's no good. Teleporter, just go. It's better.
well, but if you think about it, if you're looking at places where you're going to be moving to, you're going to want to see them beforehand anyway. So you need to travel to them as it is. So
Or teleport to them.
So
or
you're,
teleport.
you're pre-dropping blue holes all over the place just for when you're ready to make the red hole.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, you do the blue hole or do the blue portal at home. You go around, and once you find the place, just lay down the orange portal.
Yeah, but that would
Okay,
still
that
require you
works, that
to
works.
go to the other place, though. It would
Yeah, so-
require you to go there originally, like at least
Okay,
once.
I acquiesce that the teleporter from Star Trek would probably work best in that situation.
But
No,
the
'cause
portal
you still
gun
need
is
pads.
the portal gun is definitely better for going to the bathroom.
yes, and you can't just teleport, midstream. But anyway,
Gross. Let's move on.
Stream crossing.
Crossing the
X-
streams.
Don't cross the streams.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay.
Jake, we played
Yes.
Paths of Exile.
Yes, we did play Path of Exile. That game is fun.
Yes, and that is let's explain it. It's a free-to-play game.
Yes.
That's it's in beta. It's open beta this weekend. So you and I played this morning, and it is a Diablo clone.
Yep, straight up Diablo clone. And I have never played
Eh.
Diablo, and I am really enjoying it.
Who
I've never
has played
played a-
Diablo?
I have never played a game like Diablo even.
I've played
I-
Diablo 2 and 1.
I have never played Diablo or Diablo 2 or any other Diablo clone, with the exception of Torchlight, which I absolutely loved and felt and just completely enamored with. So
Wait,
that's
didn't you play that other... What's that game
Titan
you guys
Quest.
played? Yeah,
played
Titan Quest.
with
Well-
me and Rodney.
well, I don't know. Titan Quest didn't feel like it was analogous to my experience with Torchlight, I guess.
Whatever,
What?
man.
It's
Titan
the
Quest is
same game.
amazing.
No,
I
Torchlight
think
was
actually,
amazing.
Torchlight has lineage connections to Diablo, doesn't it? Like some of the developers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I think a lot of the developers who worked on Torchlight, which I can't remember the name of the company now. Runic.
Sounds right.
That's weird.
Um,
I think
Path of Exile was made by Norwegians, I believe.
Goddamn Norwegians keep showing up.
They do. Everything we can't escape them.
Well,
By the way,
how's it-
spoiler, I'm part Norwegian.
I'm just wondering, like, how is Path of Exile different than like Diablo?
But
It's not. It's
free to-
Diablo.
Not. It's just like straight up Diablo.
It's free to play. I mean, how big are the? I don't know how big the parties get, but in Diablo, I think it's only 4, right?
It's 4.
And I'm not sure
the
what there are
website
in
says 8
this.
here.
So this you can get up to 8 people. Well, that's a different thing, right? And another thing that I know is different because they advertise it as being different is the passive abilities.
Okay, yeah. The skill tree system is completely different.
Yeah, there's this
Um,
big, giant, massive like sphere grid from like Final Fantasy X. It's like this
Yeah.
giant, massive thing.
I
And
hate
they're
that
all
thing.
passive skills. And so basically what happens is when you level up, you get a skill point to fill in one of the spheres on the grid. And your abilities, like your spells, they're like these items you get, right, X?
Yeah,
On your right, Jake?
Yes, Mark, that is correct. I would compare it to like the materia in Final Fantasy VII. I don't know if you played Final Fantasy VII, but you would
I
get
did.
like materia with like a gem, and then you could level up the gem.
Yeah, the gems
basically
level up.
It's basically the exact same thing. You equip it in weapons and armor and all that. Some of the armor and weapons will have like linked slots for the gems. I assume that means it will affect the properties of the gems and the spells you can do with it,
Yeah,
just like the materia.
I was reading that you can find these gems that increase like your area of attack. So you put that with, say, my Fire 3 Arrows ability, and then it would increase, the wide arc of it. something like that.
Or if
That sounds pretty cool.
yeah, if like in Final Fantasy VII, you can get like an all and then link it to something, so then it would attack like all enemies with it.
That's pretty much exactly how it works.
Yep.
How's the item management? That's always something.
It sucks.
Yeah, it's like Resident Evil 4 style where you have to like Tetris manage.
Yeah, which
everything.
is standard Diablo. But the problem
right,
is
but
they
Torchlight
don't.
took a better arc on that.
Well,
That's like
okay. What was the thing with Torchlight? Don.
Well,
Wait,
you could
not
send
Don.
your pet back
Dave.
to thanks. You could send your pet back to town. So instead of
Oh
having
yeah,
a
and
portal,
sell your stuff.
it was a small thing, but it made it a lot more enjoyable.
You can't do that in this. At least I don't think there's pets. There might be pets. Actually,
Okay,
I think there are pets.
Or a companion or anything like that you can send. Say,
I don't
here,
know if you
dump
can
off.
send. I don't know if you can send them back to sell your stuff.
The problem with this game is there's no gold. You basically when you sell an item to the vendor, you get an item in return,
Oh, deal breaker.
So
I like gold.
It's all like a barter
Yeah.
system.
and it's based upon like these scrolls of wisdom, which basically are your identification scrolls from Diablo.
Well, that's sort of. But I have noticed when you try to buy things, you have to give them other things, like the orbs of
Transmutation,
Yeah, you have to.
or
like,
Orb of Chaos.
You give them one of those, and then you can get like a weapon back.
Yeah, but basically the problem with that is because it's a trade-in system, you're constantly having to collect items, take them back to the vendor, sell them, and then go back because not all enemies will drop the items that you need to buy stuff with.
Well, eventually, I'm sure that you'll find better items than you can buy in the store.
I think
Is it
like-
clear?
Go ahead.
Is it clear that something's garbage? Like in Diablo, they had gray items, and you knew that if you had to make inventory space, you could safely drop that.
Yes, there are different colored items. Like I know they start out as gray, and then there's blue, and then we started getting like yellow or
Gold.
orange, gold colored items.
yeah.
I think the best is probably white. I'm not sure though.
or purple.
Maybe purple. It would make sense if it was purple.
The problem I have is you need to identify like the good items, but like your currency is the stupid identification scrolls. You see the problem?
Yeah, you get these scrolls of wisdom, and then you have to use the scrolls of wisdom to identify the special properties of like your special weapons, like the rare weapons or good ones.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I have a question. So this is going to be free to play, right?
Yes.
So right now, is there any indication how they're monetizing
Yes.
like these weapons?
They're not selling any weapons or items like that. It's all like cosmetic stuff or like. Yeah, I'll look it up real quick. Hats. Yes, hats. There are hats.
The magic hats.
I'm sure they're hats. See, one of the things I was complaining to Jake about was in this game, you have to manage your inventory so much. But I mean, Rodney knows in Titan Quest you have a little button that just auto manages your inventory. It makes everything, it
Comes in handy.
yeah, it just rearranges everything so you save space, right? In this game, you have to hand move everything. Even when you're selling things to the vendor, you have to click and drag items to the vendor window,
Oh, that
like
sucks.
one by one. You can't even right click
What?
them. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I know it's
Well,
in
now-
beta, so I really hope they fix that.
Well, I think it was in Torchlight, even if you wanted to move between your own inventory and like your pet's inventory, it was just like a control click, and it was just like moved right over. It was like boom, 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 boom. It's really easy.
But you do.
Did anyone here play Deathsync? Any of those
I
games?
did not.
I did.
So I like their inventory management system where you could actually sell straight from the inventory screen, and then it also had a rudimentary like equip me with the best armor.
Yeah, see, my complaint about this game is it like all those innovations like that game did, like Deathspank did, and then also that they did for Titan Quest, like all these like little tweaks and things to just streamline the experience are not in this game.
I do like that there is that stash though, where it's like a bank where you can just keep all the stuff, and there's a lot of space in there.
That's fairly typical of these type of games, though.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
typical,
I mean,
but
they have that in
there's
Torchlight.
like it is very large. It was
There's
a
like
large
5
storage.
pages of it or something.
Well, that's nice.
Oh,
Do you have to pay for it?
No,
Is that
No.
something
it's
that-
just there. But as for the monetization, I found it. You can buy additional character animations, dyes, and item skins, alternate spell effects, social pets, and you can do like inter-realm, inter-account character transfers, and character renaming.
Are there
Something I
factions?
There's
No.
leagues.
That's only for PvP play, I think.
There is a PvP.
Talking about monetization in a game like this, something that I would like, pay, not a lot of money for, but, obviously a little bit of money. But, if you could add, if you could pay, a buck or two, buck and a half, whatever, and get like more stash space, that would be, I would do that and I would feel fine.
Well, there is a lot of stash space.
Well, the stash.
Is there like a?
But your
But
your item inventory isn't very big. Just what you can have on you.
Right. Is there a shared stash? So like you can share, like if you have multiple characters that you can easily share between them?
It doesn't look like it.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But I think
Does
that sounds like something that they're going to be charging you to do.
Yeah, move a weapon and your characters charge you money.
Do weapons
Okay,
bind?
gotcha.
Or is it lasers that bind on pickup mechanic?
No, I don't believe so. And that's another thing, right? Because like there's no gold, so you don't share, like there's no like pick up gold and like you share between your party. Like people are just gonna be ninja looting each other.
Well, we weren't too bad. We were sharing.
Well, that's because
all
we
the
know
stuff.
each other, Jake.
True, Mark.
But like,
It's like
multiplayer,
Borderlands.
like it's all
Well-
you can play this all by yourself if you wanted, right? You
Yeah,
don't
you
have
can.
to play
I mean,
PvP
it would be.
or, like, with,
I think it would be a little boring. It's not PvP. It's PvE.
or PvE.
Yeah, I think it would
Yeah,
be a
what
little boring
happens
by
is
yourself.
what happens is when you're in the town, that is it's like an MMO. Other characters are there. They're selling their stuff. You can party up. When you go into the world, it's instanced. So when you're in a
So
party,
it's Guild
you're-
Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or a Phantasy Star Online.
Best game ever.
But yeah, there's a big. Well, it's not really a big town. I wonder if there's more towns. I hope there's more towns. I bet there's more towns.
We've only played for like a couple hours, so
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it though. I mean, other than the UI stuff, and that's really the only thing that's bothering me. Other than that, I'm liking it.
Is it going to stand a chance in the face of Diablo?
Well, it's free.
yeah, I mean that helps a lot. It's a very competent game, and it looks real nice.
It looks
really
great.
nice.
I'm sure. I know Rontu always was complaining about the way Diablo 3 looked, and this does not look like that.
Yeah, it looks dark and grimy. I wish Kevin was here to tell us like some comparison stuff, but oh well.
Right, isn't Phantasy Star Online 2 going to be free to play too?
It is, but that looks a little bit like Phantasy Star Universe. And
I played Phantasy
lot,
Star Universe, and I did not like it.
I know Rodney has a lot he could say about Phantasy Star Universe.
That game was terrible.
I just played Phantasy Star Online a lot.
Did you really
on
play
the
that game
Dreamcast?
online? Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Ron. I mean, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Don.
Yeah, I used to play it on the Dreamcast. Dial-up modem. It was good.
Yeah, me too.
Bought the keyboard.
Me
It
too.
was great.
But
That's dedication.
Rodney put like 5 million hours into Phantasy Star Universe.
What? Why?
Why? I don't know.
5 million?
Is-
Oh,
Did
God.
Universe even have mags? Because it was all about the
No,
mag
I don't
for
think
me.
so.
It had these little
Nope.
things. I forgot what they were called.
You could set up your own
Yeah,
storefront.
robot butlers.
Yeah, that's right.
I even played Phantasy Star Online on a pirate PC server just because I liked it so much. It was
Well, the
madness.
game is shut down, so the only way to play it is on one of those servers. So,
Oh, I know, but like, everyone's cheating, and like everyone was cheating around me, and yet I was still like, no, I don't want any cheated items. I don't want any extra money. I have to earn it all by grinding.
yeah, I got to the point though on the Dreamcast when people were cheating so much that I had to get a Game Shark and cheat back just to defend myself.
That's a good point. I mean, is this new game, open to like cheating? Because that's what ruined Diablo 2 was the item hacks.
I haven't seen any, but I've only played with Mark.
It's hard to tell because it's still in beta.
And I don't know if you can just have someone just randomly join your instance. I don't think you can.
I'm not even sure how like level cap difference works when you're doing experience and stuff like that.
If they're putting all the saves on a central server, like in a cloud storage, then it'd be a lot harder for people.
I think that's
item
how it
people and
works.
Cheat like that.
So, is there any story to the game?
I think so. I've been just kind of skipping over it.
I never read story in those games. Come on. That's not the point of
Well,
it.
that's what I was going to ask was, if there was any story. Or if
It's
there was
pretty
anything.
generic. You end up shipwrecked, and then you go.
Yeah, you end up shipwrecked and you see a guy laying on the shore. You go and talk to him, and then he gets attacked by a zombie.
Were you a prisoner on that
I
ship?
don't
Yes.
think so. Maybe. I didn't read it.
I hope so.
You really? Do you care that much, Don?
And then I picked up a club.
No, just it's so many games start with that trope. It'd be a shame
why
to break.
violate-
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So you don't want Skyrim, or you do want Skyrim?
You start as a prisoner. No, I want it. Yeah,
And you could leave
always
your
wanna be
name
like,
as prisoner.
I want to start from dirt and end up king. That's the story.
You want to be the
right?
Dirt King?
Spoilers.
Thanks for ruining it for me.
Ruining the dirt.
Jerks.
Dragons.
Skyrim.
Shall we move on?
Blood Dragon.
Please do.
Okay, let's talk about some arcade stories. This is a topic that we were waiting for Dave to get here.
Yeah, Dave.
No, I love arcades. I miss them. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to come back.
Nope, never.
Yeah, that's sad.
And you don't count Dave and Buster's because that shit's whack.
Well, even those are sort of dying off.
There's a couple here by me. Dave and Buster's. Wait,
There were
Dave,
a
are
couple
you
in
Dave
Indy.
from Dave?
Do you guys know
They
what
have
those
stuff
are?
for the glasses.
It's like a 7-layer shot that they have at Dave and Buster's. It really pisses off the bartender when you order like 5 of them because it's a pain in the ass to make.
You know, like 10 years ago, we used to go to Dave and Buster's, and they used to have this arcade machine. It was a bunch of machines. It was called BattleTech, and it was this multiplayer mech game where everyone sat in a pod, and the pod was a cockpit of a mech, and it was a lot of fun.
BattleTech Center, yeah.
Those were good. You had to get your friends, and you play it all.
They have a
afternoon.
lot of those in Japan.
They used to have one in Montreal. I used to go down and play. It was so expensive, though. So expensive.
They sold it. Now all they have is racing games.
But
They
like,
still have the horse game. One of my friends really got into breeding the horse game, the virtual game.
I think they do have the horse game. Last time I was there. I haven't been there for a few years, though.
I find modern arcades so sad because no machine in there is like newer than like 2003. And they're always broken in some horrible way that just, you put in your token and it's like an unenjoyable experience. It just really depresses me. Because when I was a kid, arcades were just the pure place of wonder. I went to school right downtown in Toronto, and there were 5 arcades right next to my school within a 30-minute walk. And I got in trouble when I was a kid. I had to... I basically stopped showing up for school, that they put me onto the school bus because I was going to the arcade every morning and playing video games when I was supposed to be in class. It was really bad. This is me in grade 4.
Oh my god.
So that's what rebel Canadians do.
Yeah.
I remember being greatly influenced by making my college choice by what arcade games they had in the dorms.
What?
Really?
That's,
Yeah,
Are you
that's a good way to
serious?
choose.
I didn't.
That's
I mean,
a horrible way to
Well,
choose.
this school has Street Fighter, but this one has
Yeah,
Tekken.
seriously, that was what happened. It was like by the time I went to school, like the arcades had died. But I remember going like as a freshman, like doing something, and I thought this was the greatest college ever because all the dorms had Street Fighter 2 in it.
Oh man.
There was a game room at like the rec center of mine, and it had Marvel vs. Capcom.
Really
Well,
dominated.
speaking,
This is what brought 'em back.
For me, it's like Bad Dudes, Pinball.
The Simpsons. Oh yeah.
Yeah, any
the
of those
Simpsons
brawler
arcade.
games. Ninja Gaiden.
Gaiden.
well, there was this one time me and my friend were at this arcade, and he had put his quarter up. He was already playing. He just put his quarter up to keep it up there. I guess he didn't have pockets, and he was playing Smash TV. And this kid came up and kept trying to grab his quarter, so he kept like grabbing the kid's hand and throwing it away. And eventually, the kid jumped on his back. So,
What?
So then my friend took the kid's head and just like slammed it into the arcade cabinet. And then all of that kid's friends came. There's like 12 of them. And then a big brawl broke out. And then the employees came and kicked them out. And then like 20 minutes later, we were out of money and we were leaving. And I said to my friend, "What if those kids are out there waiting for us?" And he said, "Don't be stupid. We leave. They're out there waiting for us."
Oh my god.
Of course they are.
What
So
happened?
then, the most epic high-speed bike chase of all time. I nearly got hit by a car.
Oh Jesus.
And then my friend got away, but they actually caught me. And then they threatened to take my my bike, and I was just like, "Okay, take it." And then they were like, "No, we don't want him," because they wanted my friend. So then I knew by this time my friend was back in our neighborhood, so where all our friends were. So then a bigger brawl was going to break out. So then I led them back, and then all our friends were there. And then the fight started happening, and then some lady came out of her house and broke it up, and then they all ran off.
Over a quarter.
Over a quarter. In an arcade.
That's pretty fucking epic.
Playing
For Smash TV.
Smash TV.
Arcades lead to violence.
They do.
The Cinders are right.
The last time I was at an arcade, I almost got in a fight.
Was it Smash TV?
No.
Would
It
you
was
buy
about
that
2
for
years
$1?
ago.
2 years ago, man. What the hell?
Wow, it's
No,
like you're a million miles away.
What
What's it
happened,
like down in
Drew?
what's it like down in the coal mine?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Do you guys still have real arcades near you?
No.
I don't have any real arcades. I have a couple fake, like the
Cardboard
Dave & Buster's
cardboard
and
cutouts.
cardboard cutouts and Jillian's.
There's just
'Cause, like,
Dave
when-
& Buster's and Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh,
Okay.
Because in downtown Toronto, the main one, like half of it became a pizza place, and then you knew it was over because it was like a pizza place, fighting machines, and then like decrepit old arcade machines in the back, and that was that.
No, there's still like
now
a
I think
really
it's going to
nice
become
arcade
Mondo's.
where I am. But back to my story. I won't go there anymore because I almost got in a fight there.
what was? I mean, was it over or like someone on a machine too long or?
Well, This arcade has Melty Blood, which is a Japanese fighter.
Wasn't that originally a PC game?
It was originally a PC Doujinshi game. Basically, it was like one of those romance dating games, and then the second sequel was a fighter, if you can believe that.
When the romance goes bad, what's left?
Fighting.
It was just a crazy fun fighter because you could just cancel into moves. It was just balls out insane, kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So one afternoon, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay here and I'm going to beat the game with every character. And I'm almost done, and some guy jumps into play. I'm like, fuck. And I really wanted to beat it with the last character, which I was on, and he kept like playing me and kept beating me. So I just got more and more pissed off at him. I was cursing him out in Japanese, and then like it almost came to blows.
What does that sound like?
Was he Japanese? Did he realize you were taking him out?
No, he was not Japanese. But
Who
he
would
could
have
tell I
won
was
the
pissed.
fight?
He could tell I was super pissed off. I almost like took his like stupid backpack and threw it out like the back door.
Who would have won the fight had it come to that?
Nobody. It probably would have just been sad.
Would it have been a slap fight?
Society would have lost.
It would not have been a slap fight, but it would probably have been broken up immediately, and then I would have been banned. Though I haven't gone back to that arcade since.
You know,
Because it sounds like he had legit to. I mean, if he played and beat.
I know.
It sucks for you.
It was my fault, but I just put me in such a bad mood, and I was being really upset. So
you,
Yeah, the last time that I went to a arcade, I actually went with my niece and nephew and was introducing them to stuff, and which really meant that I do what I do anytime I go to an arcade, which is I just get all my tokens or quarters and I sit down in front of the Galaga machine and just start playing.
When was the last time you went?
Oh, geez, man. It's been probably a year.
is Galaga your
they're
favorite
basically
arcade game?
Galaga is hands down my favorite arcade game. My Holly knows that if I ever decide that I want to get an actual cabinet, that I'm going to get one of Galaga.
you wouldn't get a main
and-
cabinet?
I used to own an arcade cabinet.
Which one did you own?
Oh, which one?
Snow Brothers.
What?
Snow Brothers. It was like it's basically like a Bubble Bobble kind of clone.
Or Ice Climbers?
Yeah, basically you throw out the snowballs, and then once the enemies are trapped in the snowballs, you then like have to knock them into each other to kill them all, and you pick up the pieces of sushi, of course.
Of course.
Unfortunately, it was like a converted Laserdisc arcade machine. I can't remember what it was, like Space Wars or something.
Oh, Dragon Lair.
No, it wasn't
Oh my
Dragon Lair.
God.
So the
Brain
thing
Dead 13?
had, because of like RF interference on the Laserdisc player, the whole bottom of the machine was like just reinforced metal, and it was so heavy to move. I finally just gave it away, but it only cost me $25 when I bought it.
Jesus.
So it was a good deal.
25 for
Oh,
a
geez,
cabinet?
man.
Dude, when the arcades were dying around here, there was a place called Starburst Entertainment, and they had an auction every other month, and you could go and you could buy like a Neo Geo machine, $25.
Oh my God.
People would
That is
not
crazy.
people would not even bid on the cartridges because no one
You're
wanted
kidding
them.
me.
My friend, he used to have his own business. He had 3 machines in the back of his office. It was wicked. He had a Soul Calibur and a Street Fighter, and I can't remember what the other one was. But
And you got them for $25?
no, you got to pay more for some of them. But Street Fighters were dirt because I mean, so many Street
They're
Fighters
everywhere.
are everywhere.
Well, was it Street Fighter 2
but,
or
like,
Street Fighter 1?
I
Street
can't
Fighter 1
remember.
is
I think
awful.
it was. No. It was Street Fighter 2. It wasn't Street Fighter 1.
Okay.
It was straight to, or was it like Turbo or anything?
I don't remember. I know it had the JAMA, the Capcom JAMA, the board, so you could replace the boards. So he did eventually buy other boards that you could put into it. But
When-
yeah, arcade like back then they would go for like $125.
And what happened?
Which was crazy. Well, the market all dries up, right?
No, what happened to your
company had no
cabinet?
business. When I moved, I gave it to a friend of a friend. I was like, I don't want to deal with it. You guys can have it. I just gave it
What
away.
a waste.
No,
I
it was like 200 pounds.
Yeah, it's Snow Brothers. It's not like it's a seminal arcade piece.
I had never
Exactly.
heard of it.
The same auction, I was really mad because I bought that machine and then I noticed that there was a Crystal Castle with the trackball that still glowed, and it sold for $75. And if I could go back in time, I would have bid on that one and not the fucking machine, because I would have kept that Crystal Castle because that game was the Magic Honey Bear.
If I could go back
Awesome.
in time, I would do something other than rebuy something or buy something else.
Oh, I totally buy a lottery
That's
ticket if I could go back in
true.
time.
Me too.
yeah, just yesterday. Take the numbers with me.
Sports Almanac.
Sports Almanac.
Yeah,
That's been done.
shit, Biff's got the almanac. Yeah, I think that though for me, if I didn't get like the upright Galaga cabinet, I think I'd really want to get like the either a Pac-Man or a Ms. Pac-Man, like the cocktail table.
Yeah.
They have it.
I remember going to like pizza joints and they'd have those there, and I spent a lot of time playing those, especially in my about 11, 12, 13 time frame.
Did
They
anyone
have that-
go ahead?
They have that 2-in-1, Pac-Man and Galaga together.
Yeah,
20th
class
anniversary.
of-
Yeah,
class
I was
of
tempted to
82.
buy one of those, but I have no money, so.
Did anyone ever get addicted to Gauntlet?
Elf is about to die.
Yeah. Warrior needs food. Bad.
I used to play that a lot. They had it at the airport, so anytime we'd go on a trip, me and my two brothers, we'd like just get a bunch of orders from my dad, and we would just play that as we waited for the plane. It was awesome.
Do you know what's at the...
Yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
my tale of embarrassment. They had that at the roller rink, and that's why I go to the roller rink, is to go play like the 3 arcades games they had in the back.
Would you wear roller
definitely.
skates while playing them?
That's
You had
a
to.
good reason.
Yeah. If you're in
I
the
broke
roller
my
rink, you
leg
had
at
to
a
wear
roller
skates.
rink, so.
So if you lost at a fighting game there, would someone just push you away and then you'd have
There
to be
were no fighting
rolled
games.
away slowly?
It's probably good for that exact reason. Is it'd be pathetic, even more pathetic than nerds fighting in an arcade.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, you guys mentioned at the airport. I remember the game at the airport the most often was Dragon Slayer, which you guys mentioned. I've only played that game once, and I immediately
Did it-
lost.
How long did you last? 3 seconds or 4?
Maybe 4.
Did you know what you were doing?
Yeah, well, it told me, like, push in the direction, but it was so fast.
Well, it's all trial and error.
And it's
I was
expensive.
tempted.
That game is expensive, man.
Yeah, wasn't it like $1 every
it was
time?
$1
It was
for me.
$1, and like I know that's
It was
not a big deal now,
50
but like back in the day when you were a kid,
It's still a big deal now. $1
Yeah,
for 3 seconds.
so-
It's horrible.
So
Yeah, but it didn't
it's-
take that long to memorize it all.
So it was trial and error, but in Mark's case, it was all error.
it was only one error, and then that was over.
And then you were like, "What? This
It's
isn't
like
even
the-
a game. I'm leaving."
I had
Oh,
more
fuck
fun just
this
watching
shit.
the screen and the demo play.
And the death,
Yeah.
but the death animation in that, great.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I was tempted to get the remake that came out on the Wii a couple years ago.
Oh, really? I didn't realize they did
They're
that.
coming out with a 360 version.
Yeah, I did it all on the Sega CD.
It's going to be
I had it on
compatible
Sega
with
CD.
Kinect.
Yeah, but I'd rather use a Wiimote or a Move
Oh,
controller.
yeah.
I can't connect just
But what's your favorite Laserdisc game, though? That's my
Space Ace.
Space Ace.
What? Brain Dead 13.
Cliffhanger.
Do those
I think
3D
is that
games
one for
count? Do
me.
you guys remember those 3D hologram games?
Oh, the hologram. There's only one of them. I thought. The Tex time
Yes,
travel.
yes, that's the
Texas
one.
light shooter one. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that one, I know that one was trial and error too, but at least that one I lasted a couple of stages.
I just remember when that came into the arcade because we would get everything downtown, and it was like we just stared at it for ages, put pennies on the glass, being like, "Oh my god, look at this!
It's a
popping right out."
future. How stupid we were
I
back then.
remember seeing wireframes.
Curved mirror. It makes the magic happen.
You know, there was a Chuck E. Cheese that used to be near
Ugh.
my house when I was a kid,
Chuck E. Cheese.
and
Mark
Fuck
loves
you.
Chuck E.
it's
Cheese.
Fuck
his
you,
favorite. Well, me and my friends used to go there, and some days whoever was working, they'd say, "No, you can't come in unless you're with your parents." because we were like 12 or something, and we just wanted to go in and play the arcades. But we would say, but our parents are right out there. They're coming. And they would say no. So then what we did was we waited for a family, like a group to come in, and then we would just get really close to them and not say anything, and then just walk in with them. It was great. And then inside they had a Bucky O'Hare arcade machine, and which is one of those Konami brawlers like X-Men and Simpsons. It's just Bucky O'Hare. And when there's a power switch on the top, when you flip it off and then back on, you got 4 free plays. So we just sat there playing that constantly.
That's funny. You can't go into Chuck E. Cheese anymore unless you have a child.
Yeah,
it's
I was
the
still out
opposite.
of Chuck E. Cheese before they had that rule in effect.
I'm not.
Was that to keep like the pedophiles out
Exactly.
or something?
Now I'm not
Yeah.
100% positive I'm remembering this correctly, but I think one of my friends may have gotten a dump in the ball pit.
Was he a toddler at the time?
No,
Come on, everyone's
and I think he did it
Was he
on
an adult
purpose
at the
as like a
time?
joke.
yeah, everyone's heard of that story. The dirty diaper comes off in the ball pit, or someone has an accident in the ball pit. It's disgusting.
No, this wasn't an accident.
I don't think it's a story.
It's not an accident. I think he just went in there and did it because he thought it was funny. He did a lot of gross things.
So now, what's everyone's favorite arcade
Oh
machine?
shit, that's really hard.
I used to love the ones
That's really
where
easy.
like you would sit in it and it would be like a flying game, and then it would like move all around.
Oh, there was a Star Wars machine.
The-
Yeah, that
the
was
Star
my
Wars
favorite flight
trilogy?
sim.
Or
That's the Sega. What
Yeah.
was it from Sega?
Well, there was.
What am I thinking of?
Power Drift?
No,
The one...
it's a flying game.
Power Drift was awesome.
Flight game.
Well, Afterburner?
That's
Oh.
it. Thank you.
Did you ever play the original, I think it was probably the first Star Wars
Oh,
cabinet?
I
where it
have
was,
a
like, all
story
wire
about
frames
that,
and
Drew.
shit?
Yeah.
Last time I
Vectors.
went back to New Jersey, because that's where I was living before I moved to Hawaii. I went back to see my friends, and my friend took me to a retro arcade there in Flemington, New Jersey, called Richie Knuckles. And at that retro arcade, they had that Star Wars Vector arcade machine, along with a shit ton of other stuff.
Luke, use the Force.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and that just like completely. Like, I think the first time that I actually went to an arcade, I was, I don't know, God, I was probably about like 7 or 8, and my dad took me there, and I just, I remember seeing that, and that was back in like 87 or 88, and seeing that machine and like the wireframes and going down. into the
That
trench
game is still
just, like,
impressive
completely
today.
blew my mind.
Wireframe sold up.
Yeah, like Tempest, all the Atari, Major Havoc, all the Atari
Battlezone.
games totally hold up, yeah.
Do you know what doesn't hold up, though? The Journey arcade game. That thing's garbage.
Virtual Fighter, the first one.
Hey man,
Yeah.
I love pie. Everyone loves pie.
Did you ever see Did you ever or see or play the the Punch Out game where Little Mac was like a green
The-
wireframe?
it was-
That was,
that
that
was
was
the
the arcade
orig-
version
yeah.
of Punch Out.
Yeah, it was the original Punch-Out.
Yeah. Well, I remember at the time, it's like when I first saw it, I had only known the other Punch Out or the Mike Tyson's Punch Out,
It's really hard.
and that was just kind of. Yeah, I remember sitting down with it, and it was like I just couldn't do it, but it kind of made me, and it looked a lot better, obviously, but it just kind of made me realize that there is a difference between the games you play at the arcade and the games you play at home. Not only in the graphical fidelity, but those games are designed to take your money.
So you never suffered the 2600 ports of arcade machines?
No,
You're a lucky man.
I think we may have had like Pac-Man.
Oh, Pac-Man 2600,
every-
it's... Oh my god, it's so awful.
It's so horrible. Have you guys ever seen the 2600
Yes.
Pac-Man?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have it in
it
my
is
basement.
horrible.
It's awful.
I loved it. I'm
It's- oh my
sorry.
God.
I mean, because I couldn't afford the regular Pac-Man, so the fact that I could play Pac-Man at all was enough. Yeah.
Now, 2600 Space
Yeah.
Invaders, that was
Nyah,
okay.
nyah, nyah.
Well, but Space Invaders is not up to the same kind of standard that Pac-Man. I mean, for when Pac-Man came out, I mean, it looked great and it's phenomenal.
Well, Pac-Man's like 2 years later, isn't it? Pac-Man's like 81 or something like that, and Space Invaders is 79.
Well, I think because I know Ms. Pac-Man and Galaga came out in 82, so it was probably 80 or 81. But Space Invaders, yeah, it just looked like there was a big jump there, at least as far
Jake,
as my
why
eyes
did
could
you send
see.
this link?
Because
Jake sent us a link in chat to
The
poke.
spanking.
Yeah, no, it's the butt poke game.
No, I thought it was a ass spanking
No,
game.
it's-
It's like the old.
no, the controller is a finger.
Yeah, look at that finger controller. You jab that up the butt.
Japan is crazy.
Yes, it is crazy. Although I can tell you
Nice.
why that game exists.
Okay, why does that game exist?
Because in Japan, there's something called the kancho, which means you sneak up behind someone and you stick your fingers up their butt.
Is that real?
Yes, it's meant as a joke. It's kind of like it's the equivalent of like, yeah, an
Goosing.
Indian burn or like giving someone a Charlie horse. Except your finger goes up their butt.
You want
Not
to hurt
quite the
Stoner?
same thing.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not the same thing at all.
Okay.
I'm just trying to explain, like,
But
How has nobody's talked about Time Crisis
Oh, the like the gun games?
I was never
Yeah,
into
I
light
like-
guns.
or
Or
House
how
of the
about
Dead?
the Aerosmith game? That was great.
Oh,
Oh my
That was
god.
great.
I hope
Yeah.
you're joking, Dave.
No,
the Terminator 2 one wasn't bad.
I liked all the light
Terminator
games.
2 light gun game.
I like
I was
House
never
Bank
of
a light
the
Panic
Dead.
game
is-
guy.
what about
Did
the?
anyone ever play Bank Panic by Sega?
I played Terminator.
That's-
It's not
No.
called
Did you
Bang
have that-
Panic in the States. It's called Point Blank in the States. That's why.
No. I'm talking about Bank Panic. It's Sega one, 3 buttons. They had it at the laundromat near me, and the guys come up to the doors, and they either have a robber's mask on or money under their hat. If you shoot the robber, you continue. If you shoot the guy trying to make a deposit, you lose a life.
No.
That game. That game. I used to just sit there and play that for 2 hours as I was doing my laundry.
Did you guys ever play any of the racing games?
No, I was
Of
not
course.
really into it.
Yeah.
Pod
It-
Racing?
I
Eight
played
player-
pod racing.
I played Hydro
Like-
Thunder a ton.
I remember
Hydro Thunder. Oh my god, that game is great.
the last time I went to a Dave and Buster's, there was like this Ferrari game, and I remember sitting down and playing that.
Is it
And I was
Ferrari?
I was like,
Challenge.
this,
Was it called
yeah,
the
something
Ferrari
like
game?
that. It was called the Ferrari game, but I remember thinking this may very well be the closest that I ever get to like sitting down in a Ferrari.
Oh, how long ago was this?
Oh, this was last
Okay.
year. Last
I,
It's a
th-
big
I,
machine.
I thought it would be funny if it was like from like 15 years ago and it was like PlayStation
15
1
years ago,
graphics.
yeah.
This
Didn't
is
they
the
have, like,
closest
a-
thing I'll ever get.
to a Ferrari.
Didn't they have like a big rug race
Well-
simulator or something like that too? At Dave
Yep.
and Buster's?
Yeah,
I think they did.
Yeah. Well, I think the one that I sat down in had like 4.
It's like the end of Sega.
Did you
Yeah, the
ever?
Ferrari one had 4 monitors in it.
Did you ever try like the virtual reality arcade things like at Dave and Buster's, where you have to put on like a helmet and then stand in this little circle thing?
Yeah, they're kind of dumb.
Actually,
Oh, and be a firefighter?
Yeah, I took that off.
I-
I was playing it and then I was like, "This is dumb," and I took the helmet off and walked away. And the guy running it was like,
I
"What are
did-
you doing?" I'm like, "I am done."
I remember doing that once, and it was like in I think it was the summer of 1996. Basically, that summer, my family and I we went up. We left Indianapolis, went up to Sandusky, Ohio, and
Cedar
went to
Point.
Cedar Point. But that's not where this comes in. But we went up through Niagara Falls, and then we came down to Toronto, and went up through Canada and came to Toronto. And so this is whenever you hear me talk about the one time I went to Toronto. But we actually did my dad, my younger brother, and myself, we all did this virtual reality thing. And afterwards, my mom was telling us how ridiculous we looked because we were all looked like, slow motion people feeling around in the dark type thing.
Was that at the CN Tower?
No, I don't think it was there. I think it was a mall. I don't remember where it was. Like I said, this is like, 15, 16 years ago.
I did
think.
one 2 years ago at a Disney World. They had one where it was like it moved you full 360 degrees, like up and down, left, right.
Mm.
That was actually pretty good.
The
Yeah,
flying
Something
carpet?
like that.
I just remember at the time I was expecting it to be, like Lawnmower Man or something.
Lawnmower Man,
And I was so disappointed.
because it wasn't as good as Lawnmower Man.
Have you gone back and seen
Well, yeah, it
Lawnmower
was-
Man,
it
Drew?
was- No, it's.
You
I
can't
don't
go
think
back.
I've seen that since I don't think I've seen it since it
Did anyone see
came out.
Lawnmower Man 2 or 3?
I've seen
Oh,
two
There's a
and
3?
probably 3.
You're
There
pulling
is a
my leg,
3.
Dave.
Is Jeff Fahey in it?
Pierce Brosnan?
I didn't
No.
have the stomach to go for 3,
and-
so I can't
and-
tell you for sure.
In the second one, it was Matt Frewer instead of Jeff.
So what
Fahey.
is your guys' like best arcade memory or moment? Like mine, there was this time I was playing Mortal Kombat 3, and the guy that worked at the arcade came up and started playing me, and I beat him like 10 times in a row. Then he got a phone call, and he said, "Tell him I'll call him back. I'm playing this game, and this kid is really good." And then I beat him a few more times, and then I finally got beat by someone else, but I had got enough wins, so I got into the top like 3 on the leaderboard on the arcade machine. So that was pretty great.
For me, it would probably be the day I finally finished Golden Axe on 1/4.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Wow.
That was like so many days of like every day after school I put in 50 cents into that machine to place, and eventually one day finished it in 1/4. It was great.
Good job.
I have a similar thing, except it was Turtle.
Ninja Turtles, the arcade.
Yeah.
1/4.
It was 2/4. As close as I could.
That's really impressive for that game.
I was trying to get to 1/4 and I lost interest after doing it. I'm like, okay, that's good enough for me.
Now, I have a question though. Did anyone ever used to go around to like, because arcade machines could have their difficulty set differently? Did anyone ever go out of their way to places where they had the arcade machine set easier? Because I used to do that all the time. We used to like.
I never knew about that.
I didn't know about that.
I didn't even know
yeah.
about the hacked like Street Fighter machines until just like a couple
Like
years ago.
they would have jumpers, like especially the Sega ones would have jumpers for how many lives you got and how many health points you would get at the start of the game.
Nope, don't remember that.
So yeah, so we used to take our BMX bikes extra far to this Portuguese pool hall because they had their machines set a little bit cheaper.
That's funny.
Your BMX bikes to the Portuguese pool hall.
Yep.
To the Portuguese pool hall.
They had the Wolf, Operation Wolf. They had Operation
that
Wolf.
was a great one too.
A Golden Axe, and they had something else too. I can't remember. Oh, the tank one. It's like a vertical game, twin stick tank game. Anyway.
How about you, Rodney?
I remember going to the Sega City, and I think I spent $50 or $60 at the Star Wars arcade machine.
Wow.
The new one. And I sat on that thing for like an hour.
You mean the Star Wars arcade trilogy?
For an hour
thing?
and a half. Yeah, it was amazing. And I just wanted to beat it. I wanted to finish the game. And there was a lineup, I remember, of like 10 kids behind me all
And you're
trying
like,
to
no.
play. Yeah, I wanted to see
And
the
did you
whole
beat it?
game. So I just, yeah, they used time cards there, so I just kept swiping my credits over and over until it was depleted. And then I got down to my last credit, and I was like right at the Endor battle, and I managed to destroy the Death Star.
So
and
did all
win
the
game.
kids that were behind you lined up start cheering?
Yeah, actually, it was
Rodney, I'm
pizza
going
roll,
to tell you something.
and I think I got on the top
Rodney?
floor.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to depress
Yes.
you. My friend can beat that on 1 credit.
God damn it!
And what happened was we were at the Dave and Buster's when when he came down to Hawaii for our wedding ceremony, and we went to Dave and Buster's, and he beat it on 1 credit, and there was a guy behind him watching him, and afterwards the guy went up to him and was like, "You're my hero."
Well, I was going for a high score.
Did you get to the kill screen?
I got to
Drew,
put my
do you have a
initials
story?
in.
Pretty good.
No. There's nothing that really sticks out in my mind, but I keep track of my Galaga high scores and always try and top those, but I don't play often enough to really improve that much. And I'm gonna have to find a new arcade around here. Hopefully, someplace has a Galaga machine.
What would you guys spend for your initials on the arcade cabinet?
My initials.
Yeah,
Rad.
my initials.
That was 80s. I'm sorry.
Rad.
NOD, which is Dawn backwards.
Oh, okay. How about
Me?
you, Mark?
Well, for my initials, just my initials, but as far as stories go, not really. I remember one time I beat what was the original Soul Calibur? Before Soul Calibur, it was Soul
Soul Edge.
Soul Edge.
Yeah, Soul Edge.
Blade Edge.
I remember I beat it on 1 credit, and I got like a super fast time, like
Wow.
less than 5 minutes or something. I was really proud.
Awesome.
That's about it.
Then did some 4-year-old put a quarter in and beat you?
No, the problem was I was with my friends who didn't really care about arcades, including 2 girls. And like I was all proud because like, oh man, I beat it so fast, and they could care less.
You set a world record and they're like, whatever.
Exactly.
Like nerd.
Yeah, I think I think anything is better than what Billy Mitchell does, and it's like.
Oh man, I
Make-
love Billy Mitchell. That guy is
Make hot
awesome.
sauce? You hate hot
I
sauce?
mean,
I agree.
he's great. No, but it's
What a
just,
character.
but he can be so abrasive.
That's
hate
why
hot
he's so
sauce.
awesome. And he's
That's why he's
Yeah.
great.
He wears that tie
the
I'm
flag
a-
tie is rocks, and the mullet.
I can't do that.
and his beard.
No,
And the hot sauce. It's just a total package, really.
And
just don't think I
he
could
had
dedicate
how many
myself.
records? Was it Pac-Man and
He's
Missile Command and
I think he lost them all.
no, he's yeah the
It's all that
the
surgeon now.
The Pac-Man one was or not the Pac-Man, the Donkey Kong one was the last one that he had, according to King of Kong. But,
Well, he lost that
how
right after
accurate is that?
King of Kong thing is dated.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but I know I've kind of kept up on it a little bit, and I know that neither Billy Mitchell nor Steve Wiebe
Right, it's that
has it
surgeon
right
guy.
now.
Yeah,
It's
the surgeon.
just this guy I think in New York or something.
And he never played the game before, right? He just walked in and said,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
he's
this,"
like-
and then he set the record.
What a slap in the face.
Well, and it's like I've looked at what they're scoring, and then looking at what Steve Sanders' claim score was like 3.8 million. It's like, oh man, that's not even possible because I mean these guys are just now getting 1 million points.
How far did you guys ever get in Donkey Kong? I
So-
couldn't get past like the second screen. I think I got to the third screen once, maybe.
Oh man, I've not played it in a
usually
long
die in the
time.
second screen.
I used to play Donkey Kong Jr.
I could usually get to the first elevators,
Yeah, that game always just kicked my ass.
which according to the documentary, like most games will never get past that screen.
What about Donkey Kong Jr. though?
I played DK Junior Math.
I did not. Just Junior.
I don't know how far I didn't play Junior as much as Donkey Kong, and I didn't play Donkey Kong a whole lot, but I do remember like I was excited the first time I got past the first screen. And then once they started doing the bouncing traps,
Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah, it's like you screw this.
Okay, we're gonna quickly wrap up because we are pushing on time. Let's just go over our favorite arcade game off the top of your head. Let's start with Don.
If I had to pick one, Pac-Land. I don't know why. I just played the shit out of that game. It was something about a game that had just buttons, no joystick. Would I don't know, really appealed to me. You just could pound on them.
All right, sweet.
And who didn't like Pac? Okay,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no worries, no worries.
Dave, go ahead.
It'd be Miss Pac-Man too, because this is the last time I remember my parents being really excited about gaming at all. It was like my first introduction to playing games at all. It's Pac-Man fever.
All right, Jake.
I would probably go with Mortal Kombat 3, but not because of the game, because of my experiences playing it.
Rodney.
Yeah, I love the light gun game, so I'm gonna say House of the Dead 2.
Good choice. Drew.
Galaxian. No, it's Galaga.
Okay, mine is a tie between Alien vs Predator, the beat 'em up, and Police
Cheater.
911.
That's stupid one
I
where you have
love
to
that
duck.
game so much.
It's so dumb.
I used to play the crap out of that game. One of the only shooting games that I would play. So much fun.
You know, you look stupid when
I
playing it.
know. And on that
I
note,
think that's an awesome choice.
Jen is amazing
on
at
that
That's a
note,
great choice.
I think we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back, and you know what? We're gonna go right back into some more arcade talk because we have more to say. And apparently, Dave likes to type stuff. What's going on, Dave?
I'm typing stuff.
Clack, clack, clackety.
Sending
I
out a
thought I turned down
telegraph.
the sensitivity of my mic, but apparently I failed.
Sending out a telegraph.
How else do you communicate with people these days?
House is on fire. Stop. Please send water. Stop.
Stop. Help me! Exclamation
Stop.
point. Help me!
Going to the
Exclamation
arcade.
point.
Stop. See you there.
Fire! Exclamation point. 123 Carrington Road. Looking
Yes.
forward to hearing from you.
Stop.
Stop.
Do you guys like skee ball?
Tickets.
I did when I was 5.
I
Did you
still
guys,
love it.
Wouldn't you would get tickets on it? Would you like pull the ticket and then try to pull them all out against the machine?
Yeah, of
No.
course.
I try to get extra tickets, and then
Yeah.
it always bummed me out when the machine would stutter because someone had done that before me.
Yeah, I would. I've done that before where I kept pulling them out and I would get like an extra 100 tickets.
I did not.
How did you not get caught, Jake?
I did not know you could do that.
I was sneaky.
Sneaky.
Did anyone actually buy any tickets? Because I just always would save them
No.
because I wanted the big thing, and then
Oh,
never
terrible
ever.
prizes.
I would never play skee because I realized the prizes were always so shitty. I'd rather play digital, like a video arcade machine than skee-ball.
At
Well-
Dave and Buster's, I know my brother saved up hundreds of thousands playing this like puzzle Tetris type game that would get you tickets. I can't remember what he got though.
Oh, was that a type of game where you were dropping these they look like poker chips
Yes,
to match
that's
up?
the one.
Yes, my wife loved that game when it was at Dave and Buster's.
Yeah,
What,
that would
Plinko?
get you a lot of tickets.
Well, and they'll bank those like on your card so that you don't have to carry around the millions and millions of tickets or whatever.
Yeah, like I said, he got like hundreds of thousands on there. I honestly
But-
can't remember what he got. It might have been like a PS3 game or something.
Traded it in for a Game Boy.
Car.
Dave and
Yeah,
Buster's.
I really like. I mean, the only time I really like to play skee-ball is when I'm playing against someone, particularly my wife, just as something that we can just do to, compete.
And you can
That's
transfer?
fun. No, she actually, it may be 50-50, but I do distinctly remember a number of times where she just absolutely kicked the shit out of me.
Would you ever run up the ramp and just drop the ball into the 100-point thing?
That would be tempting.
See, I would go to the mole whacker or like you guys
Yeah.
see the alligator version of that?
No, I've not seen
Whack-a-mole?
that, but I know that whack-a-mole. I know what you're talking about.
There's this crazy crocodile game or something like crocodiles come out of these openings.
Is it like
Oh yeah,
whack-a-mole?
I've seen that.
Yeah,
you hit
you've
them on
seen it.
nose.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
hit them
yeah,
on
yeah.
top of the head.
Gotcha.
But so basically, what we do is like we would try to get 3 people just lined up and like just hit everyone as they came out with like our hands,
Right.
which is then you get yelled at because they're like, no, you got to use the hammer, and only 1% of the time.
That's not as fun.
But why won't everyone just do it and then you get a maximum points?
Because the attendee, the guy running the place, would yell at you. That's what I'm saying.
That's why you get a friend to say, "Hey, what's that?" constantly, so he's always looking off looking at stuff.
Is that how you did it, Jake?
Maybe. I may have had friends looking out, forming a wall of people.
A human pyramid.
No, what? That doesn't make sense. That would draw attention. Like, hey, why are those kids forming a human pyramid in the middle of an arcade? Standing right in
Maybe.
front of that skee-ball machine.
And then they wouldn't be paying attention to the skee-ball machine or the whack-a-mole.
Or it would draw everybody over so that everybody was standing right there and you couldn't do it.
Well,
You
but
don't do it
maybe-
in front of the ski machine. You do it on the other side of the arcade.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're making sense.
Have you ever been
Yeah.
kicked out of an arcade?
Yes.
Yeah, I got kicked out once.
Well,
What'd
Chuck
you
E. Cheese.
do? What'd you do, Don?
I didn't do anything. My friend lit my arm on fire with
What?
lighter
Why?
fluid.
What?
Whoa. Wait. You have to explain this before you can go on.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out of the arcade one time when my friend lit my arm on fire. No big deal.
Yeah, I didn't do anything. Just caught on fire.
Yeah, well, it was like grade 7 or so, and I forget what we were playing, but we were having some sort of grade 7 argument, and we were both little pyros at the time, and so he had a bottle of lighter fluid, so he decided to spray my K-Way with lighter fluid, and then light it on fire. And then
then you were
I
aflame.
furiously, like, smashed my arm between, like, 2 arcade machines to put out the flames. And
You didn't stop, drop, and roll?
No. It was...
What if that would have lit the arcades on fire?
It's not going to light the arcade machines
Don
on fire.
was thinking about that when his arm was on fire.
And then, so the guy was like, "You kids have to go home." And so, next day we were in there playing games again, and that was.
Should have been more like.
I still stayed friends with that guy too.
It should have been more like, "You kids, stay there. I am calling the police."
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Like-
calling the fire department. There has been an assault with fire.
I never understood how arcades were like such kid activities when they were always so seedy. Like like
Oh yeah.
smoking in the back.
I wasn't like
And
that. The one that I
drinking.
was to go to.
Well, and the lights were lower.
Because the one I went to was also a go-kart track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And I think it may have had also had miniature golf.
yeah.
Was it a fast go kart or just a regular go kart?
It does regular go-karts. One time, me and my friends did it, and we spun out the cars, so they had to come and restart the engines. And then when we were parking at the end, I accidentally hit the gas instead of the brake, and I ran right into the back of the person in front of me, and they fell out of the go-kart.
What the hell?
Good stuff.
They didn't kick you out for that?
Nope.
I got kicked out for like go karting too aggressively. Is what they said.
So
Yeah,
I,
they yelled at us, but we didn't get
wait.
kicked out.
I have a side story that's related to Jake. So this is completely side story, but my wife is from Hawaii. So and I am from West New York. So when we were going to school in New Jersey together, one time she went back to my family house and we went tubing. Okay, she's from Hawaii, so she doesn't deal with the snow.
Oh,
She's never gone tubing before.
Bumper boats?
Oh, like tobogganing or
Inner
whatever.
tubing.
Or
Yeah,
just
inner
like
tubing
down
down
a
this-
river.
Down a frozen
Tubing, that was a good
snow
arcade
or
machine.
Snow?
in the
Oh, wait.
river?
Yes,
Anyway, go on.
So the place that we went to, they had you at the bottom of the hill sit down into your tube, and then they had like this little handlebar that you held onto, and this kind of like this line that would just went up, right? So when you reach the top, you're supposed to roll out of your tube, and the attendee at the top grabs your tube for you, and then you get yourself up, and they hand you the tube, and then you go to where you go down the hill, right?
Okay.
So my wife, she couldn't get out of the tube when she reached the top of the hill. And she just she was trying to get out, and she rolled into the attendee and knocked him flat on his ass.
That's great.
Yeah, and the other attendee thought it was awesome.
I bet.
That's literally what he said. Like my wife was like apologizing so much. She was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." The other guy was just like, "That was awesome." All right, back to arcades.
Yes, back to the arcades.
We like
Pinball.
Ooh, pinball.
I used to play pinball. I mean, I wasn't like super into it, but I would play it every now and then. Like I remember playing the like Terminator 2 pinball.
Yeah, I started
Twilight
playing
Zone.
pinball when they had those electronic, like the Terminator ones or like
I like Terminator
the Indiana
because it
Jones
had
ones.
it had a gun grip.
Did anyone ever play
To
Twilight?
launch the ball.
Yes.
I love Twilight Zone.
Because
I think my favorite was
gumball
Addams Family.
machine and then the rubber ball. It was awesome. If you got multi-ball with the rubber ball, you were just racking up the points.
Like
That
actual
one
rubber
actually
ball.
had-
Yeah, it had a rubber ball as one of the balls.
Wasn't that the one that had actually like Rod Serling's voice?
Voice, yeah. And had a gumball machine, and that was the holder for the multi-ball.
Does anyone play any pinball simulators?
Nope.
I do a little bit on the Xbox every now and then. I bought some of those tables, but I have friends that are they poop sock that stuff, and it's just like I can't compete.
I think I'd rather have a pinball machine than an arcade cabinet.
Pinball
Like-
breaks down easily, though. I mean, I've looked at buying one, but you really have to maintain them.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I think this thing would be cooler to have.
It would be.
I
But
used to
you just have to know how to do stuff. Like fix it.
I looked at actually building a coffee of a pinball playfield.
Awesome. Why didn't you do it?
Time, and the wife wasn't too thrilled. I thought it'd be pretty cool, but she thought a regular coffee table would be cooler.
How much is like
Who won
a
that?
board out of a pinball machine? Do you know?
It depends. You can usually find them. It depends on how popular that board was, that from what machine it came from. So you can usually find them fairly cheap as long as you're not interested in getting like if you try to get the Twilight Zone playfield, it'd probably cost you. And don't go to eBay because it's way overpriced.
But if you got like Speed or something like that, who cares?
Right. So you're looking 50, 35. It depends on the condition of the playfield too.
Right.
So Rodney, do you like pinball?
I was never really super into ball.
I wasn't really into it all that much, but I thought it was cool.
I thought it was the coolest thing ever
Maybe it's because you guys are younger.
when I was younger.
Younger? What?
But pinball
Well,
had the
Rodney's
best.
younger.
By like 3 years?
You're like
Is
2
it?
years older than me.
Yeah.
What?
Mark,
You guys are barely out of diapers.
I am almost 15 years old.
Almost.
Do you guys
I am
remember
15
the,
years old, and what is this?
Did you guys
But-
play the Star Wars Episode 1 pinball?
No.
No.
It had this cool trick.
Where
Basically
you
had
could
a
kill Jar
screen.
Jar.
Well, you actually could, probably.
Really?
But inside the machine
Oh wait,
there was
best ever. Anyway,
there
sorry.
was a there was a bit
Damn
of
it,
an
Drew, shut up.
overhang. So they had a TV playing clips from the movie backwards reflecting onto a glass. So instead of your typical pinball with the scrolling text, it had like movie clips and all kinds of things show up on a screen reflected into glass.
That's kind of
I
cool.
just thought it was
That's pretty
kinda cool.
cool.
Is that
Except
a
it's not so fun.
Gottlieb? You know who made that pinball machine?
I have no idea.
Was it you, Biggie?
No.
I think
I mean, Don.
isn't only Sterling Williams the only manufacturer around? Like
Yeah,
everything
Williams.
else.
I thought Gottlieb is the only one left now.
No, Gottlieb's gone. I just watched a documentary on pinball.
What was it called?
Special
Pinball?
One Lit. It's still on Netflix.
That's too
What-
bad. I really was hoping the documentary would have been called Pinball.
I didn't
Pinball.
catch what it was called. What was it called?
Special When Lit.
Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out.
It's.
Speaking of documentaries, I'm sorry. Dave, did you have another story?
I was just gonna say it's no King of Kong, but it's more informative than mini drama.
Speaking
Yes.
of documentaries, Rodney
Yes.
is filming one.
No, speaking of documentaries, which are movies, I was thinking about transitioning into Moviebox, unless you guys had anything else to say.
Well, okay, I don't know why I'm gonna share this story. Anyway,
Yeah, well, you should ask yourself that, Don.
the arcade machines in Montreal were the arcades in Montreal are particularly seedy. Basically, every single arcade machine in Montreal back in the 80s and 90s was built on top of an adult cinema house. So
I think they still
It's
are.
combining two of my favorite things. Awesome.
so
Can I move to Canada?
anyway, just my 15-year-old self in Montreal being like, what the hell? So I can go play arcade machines and then go downstairs and watch pornos in your own little private booth. This just blew my mind. And they were both a quarter.
Where did you spend more quarters?
Let's move
Miss
on.
Pac-Man.
Which did you think was the better value for the money?
Miss Pac-Man.
She really loved you.
This is getting uncomfortable. I want to move on. Let's talk about the movie box pick of this week, brought to us by Kevin EP3, aka Kevin. Actually, that's backwards. Kevin, aka Kevin EP3.
I like to think his name is actually Kevin P3
His last name.
on his birth certificate.
His brother was
You know what I
EP1
meant.
and 2.
Exactly. His dad and grandfather.
Anyway, the movie was 13 Assassins. Jake, Drew, and I saw it.
Yeah, everybody else is a slacker.
Was it
I watched
subtitled?
the trailer. I watched the
It
trailer.
was. I watched it. It was subbed on Netflix. I really liked the movie.
Yeah, this was, I've not watched, a ton of samurai movies, and especially none outside of, Kurosawa's, but this was really good. It was really violent, but
This was
by comparison.
Miike, right?
Takeshi Miike, the guy who did Audition.
Itchy the Killer.
Mm-hmm.
And the upcoming
Phoenix, right?
Phoenix, right? Yeah.
Perfect.
Which makes me think that he just has to be one of the most versatile directors in the history of cinema.
Or he's insane.
Or he's a pervert. Because I can't believe we haven't brought up the fact that there was a naked boy just peeing. Full frontal.
Well, we just started talking about it. We would have got there.
Yeah, I was like,
We need to start off with that. We
Well,
need
but
to
that was,
talk
like, near
about
the-
this scene.
You know, start out with that, not the girl with all her
That-
limbs cut off.
and
But
her
is there
tongue cut out.
context? Is there context for the peeing boy?
Yes,
No.
it is.
He had to use the restroom.
He walks out. There's these guys checking out of town. He's standing there naked and he pees.
So it's basically to reinforce that the town is like seedy. Even the children just piss wherever they want.
It's to show that the town is actually normal.
Yeah, just
Because
a
I don't know
normal
about
naked
you.
kid, full frontal, his penis is hanging out, and then he's just gonna start leaking.
Well, I mean, this was set in like 1880 something?
No, this is set in 1600s.
16? Okay.
I'm sure open defecation was the rule of the day.
I'm just surprised that Jake and Drew weren't more up in arms about this or surprised about this.
I don't know. It didn't bother me. It was just the thing that I found more disturbing was the woman who
Yeah, totally.
who had all of her limbs cut off and had her tongue cut out and was like completely naked. But why don't we kind of just go over what the movie is about a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah.
So very short summary is that there is a daimyo, or basically like a version of a duke over a precinct in Japan, and he is really sadistic, messed up guy, murdering people, just doing what he wants.
And he's the shogun's brother, right?
Yes, the shogun is basically he's during this time he's the most basically he's the de facto ruler of Japan. And so because of his family relationships, they can't, really punish him, but it just gets to the point where he's just way too bad and ridiculous. And so one of the shogun's advisor hires a guy to put together a task force and assassinate this guy.
And
So he
there's-
doesn't rise to political power.
And there's 13 of them.
Yes.
They end up 13 assassins.
Hence
And
the
but
name
yeah,
of the movie.
But that guy was messed up.
Yeah, he was, really just a fuckhead.
Is
Like
this
the first thing we see of him, he rapes some guy's new wife and then cuts his head off.
Murders the husband and cuts the head off.
Yeah, and it calls him
Yeah.
like a monkey something. It says monkeys have hard bones.
Mountain monkey.
Yeah, it was something like that. Well, I mean, he's obviously not very. To me, he's not very good with a sword because it took like 3 hacks to take this guy's head off.
Yeah, and then
So,
later in the
and
movie, the real samurai in one.
Yeah, like all over the place. It's like, I mean, the movie is kind of hyper violent, especially at the end.
Well,
But like the last hour.
yeah,
That
the
was a
first
really
half of
long
the movie is like just the setup of like getting like the assassins together and learning about how sadistic this daimyo is.
It's really. I think the first half is really trying to set up how messed up this guy is.
And
like,
he is.
Right.
Like there was also that scene with the family that he had tied up that he was shooting with arrows.
Oh yeah, that was messed up.
And
Yeah,
there was
the
just
movie
one little kid left.
Yeah, it's because the movie opens up with a guy who he basically he cuts his belly open. He commits harakiri in protest of this daimyo. He's like, this guy's so fucked up. I don't want to work with him. I'm just gonna kill myself in protest. So the daimyo, like, he ends up he just like, what's he doing? Like, he buries them or he ties them up in the family in the front lawn, and he just like shoots them full of arrows.
Yeah, well, and even at like point blank range in some cases,
Including like a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
people telling him not to do it. The family is like protected by the government or something.
Yeah.
he just does not give a shit. 0 fucks were given.
So is it other noble lords hiring the assassins, and it's not the peasantry?
It is the advisor of the shogun, and the
It's
problem
kind
is,
of on the down low, though, isn't it?
yeah, it's on the download because he's the advisor to the shogun. It can't be
So
brought up.
so it's not a story of redemption for the assassins.
No.
It's just a story of like badasses, and we're gonna kill you.
Well, the samurai weren't really prominent anymore at this point. So it was like
Yeah,
their
that's kind of a big
final
point of that.
glory, their way to go out with a bang.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
so
is
so it's like Tom Cruise is about to come over the hill.
no. That is a little further out. This is basically after the Warring States period. They one guy basically unites all the lands and starts governing them, and this is during that peaceful time where the different precincts are no longer at war.
Like there was that
So, yeah.
that part of the movie where the guy was talking about all the samurai which selling their swords so they can gamble.
Yeah, because they have no use for them.
Yeah.
Well, and then kind of just as near the end of the film, just to kind of show how sadistic this daimyo is. I mean, he actually says, this must have been like what was like, when everyone was at war. We need to have another war, and it's like,
Yeah, you said that was like the age of war or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it we need to bring back another age of war?
Yeah, so it's like, I think anyone who actually ever fought in a war would, be against that and would never think that way.
But the assassin that they went to, the samurai they went to get to assassinate this guy, he was like the former like bodyguard or something of the former shogun or something.
Of the previous shogun, like the current shogun's father or something like that. He
And
like
also the
fought with him.
daimyo's father.
So the combat in this movie, what kind of action style does it take? Like,
It's not like wire fu or anything like that.
it's not wire. It's realistic.
Yes.
Is it
Yeah.
lots of?
Well,
do they do,
sort
do
of.
They do the triple cut on a kill? So like give you the 3 camera angles, rewind it
No.
a little bit for
No,
you.
no, not none of
I
that
mean,
slow
it's
action stuff.
it's as realistic as you can get of battle between 13 dudes fighting over 200
Yeah.
Right.
at once
Well,
and winning.
The one thing that I really liked about it was the way they broke it down, and how they would do the divide and conquer. I mean, because they knew that they were going to be fighting a force much larger. I mean, they were anticipating 70, and it wound up being like 200. But the way they would just kind of, get some of the guys, break the force up, and
Oh yeah, they bought that
you know,
town.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
buy out a town and then they set up like this giant ambush at the town, and they build these giant like wooden like walls
It's a
basically.
labyrinth
Yeah,
of
these
death.
walls
Yeah.
that just like slide into place instantly and
So-
cutting off
so
the
they-
roads.
So they A-teamed the situation basically.
Yes.
well, they out A-teamed the A-team. I mean, the A-team would have been.
The
Would have been
plan
like, wow,
come
that is a
together.
good plan. Yes.
Yeah.
Although most of them died.
Well, and I kind of watching this, even though the story's not all that the same. It did remind me. I felt like there were a lot of, kind of similarities to like Seven Samurai and the way the whole movie was constructed. Whereas at the beginning of the movie, you have the
It kind of reminded me of Yojimbo.
Kind of, maybe a little bit, but I mean, at the beginning of the movie, they have the reason why they're wanting to fight, and they bring all the samurai together, and then
they have the battle.
They have the battle, and kind of once it started getting towards the end of the battle, it made me think of Seven Samurai because of the quote at the end of that movie where they say, well, you won, and then the samurai says, no, the samurai never win. The villagers win, but the samurai always lose.
So,
because they always end up dying. At least some of them always end up dying.
So would you put this movie on par with The Seven Samurai? Because, I loved The Seven Samurai. I have that poster on my wall.
I would not.
It's a really good movie,
not that
though.
good, but it's still really good. And this is a remake, too.
What's it a remake of?
It's a remake of the original 13 Assassins, a movie from the 1960s.
Right.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So is it on par with, Ran, or?
You should watch it.
Well,
just watch it?
Just watch it.
Well, yeah, Ran is based on King Lear, though, isn't it?
I know.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Shot in Alberta.
The cinematography isn't going to be anything as amazing as Kurosawa, but
none of the characters in it really stuck out to me.
Well,
there's
one.
The main guy, the main samurai.
The one dude that was up in the tree that they caught, that was in the net,
Yeah.
he stuck out.
Oh, they catch a mountain man, and can we talk about that? How ridiculous it is at the end of the movie? How did that guy live?
Yeah, he wasn't a samurai, and he's just fighting with rocks.
Also, they threw a sword through his throat.
Well, the way I actually was disturbed by that a little bit, or not disturbed by it, but I was like, wait, how in the hell is this happening? And I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something and that it happened to someone else, like another character.
No, it was that guy.
It was that guy, and Mike said that he is actually a forest spirit or something, and therefore is immortal.
Yeah, someone asked him if he said, "What are you, immortal?" He said, "Oh no, these wounds are nothing compared to a bear's."
Yeah, exactly.
But the director explains that he is actually a forest spirit. He's not a real person.
Yeah, exactly.
But he took a sword to the neck.
Well, not straight through the neck.
No, it was straight through.
It went straight through the neck.
Well, no,
it wasn't in the middle. It was over to the side.
It wasn't in the middle.
middle.
That's what I'm saying.
But
it was through the jugular.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't through his windpipe or anything.
But when you see him, he doesn't have any wound on his. When you see him, he doesn't have any wound on his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first reaction was that I missed something somewhere.
But I guess he's just some magical
forest spirit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that then.
That's weird. There was no magic or anything in the entire movie, and then just one dude just happens to be immortal.
Yeah. It would have been more plausible for a cat bus to show up at that point.
Or a tengu.
Yeah. There was one samurai who that stuck out to me, and he was just ultra badass.
Oh yeah, that guy.
His name was Hariyama.
The guy he didn't shave
the Ronin.
He didn't shave the top of his head like everyone else,
yeah.
and he had the student.
The
young student.
There was this one very kind of pivotal scene where where they corner a bunch of guys, and it's I don't know, that had to be 30 or 40 guys. And
are you talking about when one guy was being chased and then set the fire?
No, well, maybe, but I don't.
Are you talking about the
exactly.
scene with him and his student, and he's kill anyone who comes behind me?
Gets past.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
kill anyone who gets by me. I saw that, and I was just oh man, that was just completely one of the most badass things I think I've ever seen.
The action is well done.
That was, and it looked like that was a way out. So that was, but it was leading to him, and then you don't see him at first, but when they first get into that area, you just see these pathways lined with swords everywhere.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. As far as there is no action in any of the Kurosawa samurai movies that are quite as brutal as this one is. Even the one that I think that I've seen that made me actually think that was completely badass as far as Kurosawa goes was Akahige, and anyway. But this is the action in it. It's completely superb.
Yeah, the action's in a good. Excuse me.
The action is good.
The action is good, and what I wanted to say is it's interesting because the main assassin that they get, he is like a former dojo buddy of the main bodyguard of this evil guy.
Oh yeah, they trained at the same place and everything.
Yeah, and it's funny because they're both trying to do their ideal duty. The assassin is trying to do his duty to end the reign of terror, and this bodyguard is saying, no, it's our duty as samurai to serve our lord, even though he knows his lord is evil and terrible.
Yep. And then that I like the way how that ended. That fight. He said, "In the dojo, we are equals," and then he kicked mud in his face.
Yeah, that's one thing they kind of talked about early on in the movie was that it's not necessarily about basically saying fighting's not going to be fair, so don't fight fair.
Yeah, fight dirty.
Yeah, if you have to, and they definitely did throughout a lot of that.
Yeah, that guy that actually said that line was the guy you were just talking about earlier in that other scene. And then when that character died, he was doing everything he said to do. Like, if you're gonna go out, take as many with you as you can, and you see him just with rocks, just bludgeoning people.
It's a great movie.
The complete, but it's I definitely highly recommend it.
So when it finally comes to Netflix Canada, watch it.
Yes.
Yeah, or I think it's out on Blu-ray. Or
go buy it.
It's if you like samurai movies, then you're gonna absolutely love this.
It was really good.
I can say that without hesitation.
Final thing I want to say is I had a hard time watching this because even though it was subbed in Japanese, I had a really hard time understanding the Japanese because it's like old, almost worse than old English, the way they talk.
Really?
Yeah, because it's. I was talking to Kenzo about this. You know how like you have Shakespeare, and even if you're in high school, you can kind of understand Shakespeare. Old Japanese is just completely like you have to learn almost a totally new vocabulary with how they say things.
So are you just like reading?
Pretty much, I was listening and kind of looking at the subs to like confirm everything, and I had to go back, especially during the first hour when there's a lot of dialogue to.
Well, I
make
had
sure
no idea what
they're
they were saying. I'd have no idea what they're saying if it wasn't for the sub.
Right.
Because I don't speak Japanese.
So next week's movie box pick
is from Bob or
Dave.
Yeah, I want to watch Death Race 2000.
With Sylvester Stallone.
Awesome.
It's David Carradine's billing.
It still has Sylvester Stallone. He was
You're gonna
Rocky
need a red hot navigator.
and Rambo.
No, he's Turboni or something like that.
Turboni?
Yeah, that's his character's name.
It's a weird name.
Well, not for a racer.
Oh, well, you have a point there.
The only reason I know about this movie is because they sampled it in a song I really liked.
What song?
I See You in 3D by Bomb the Bass. Which is like late 80s British hip house.
Okay.
Silence.
No idea what you're talking about.
I didn't even know that was a genre, but thanks for educating me.
I think you're just making things up.
No, I'll 1 sec. I'll send it to you later.
All right, so Death Race 2000, and it's available on Netflix streaming right now.
I see it right now. For the Americans, I can't tell about our Canadian
Not
brothers.
in Canada. It's not in Canada.
Probably not.
I looked. I already checked.
Canada? Why do you have to be
I'm
weird?
sorry. You're missing a gem here. It is really good.
I have seen
In a
the
bad
movie,
way.
though.
I was about to say, and by really good, you mean like horrible.
Is it as good as the Jason Statham version?
I have not seen that one.
No, it's more redeeming than the Jason Statham version. I mean, you got a guy that had his hand replaced by robot arm, so he can shift faster. I mean,
That sounds pretty great.
The $6 million Death Race 2000. Man,
I think it should have been called 5,000.
Roger Corman.
5,000 is better. Have you seen Roger Corman's Frankenstein?
I have not.
I have. It's been a long time, and I believe there's time travel in it.
I was getting ready to ask if that was the one that had Sting in it, but that was The Bride.
Also, Dune.
Yes, also Dune. Directed by David Lynch.
Speaking of David Lynch, you guys should listen to the Twin Peaks podcast.
Yeah, where we
Watch
discuss
Twin Peaks
Twin
with
Peaks. It's very good.
Kind of hard to listen to.
If you don't watch Twin Peaks,
Probably should watch that.
Are you
kind of
really listening
required.
to that without watching the show?
No, those ones.
so yes, you did it once. Like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
The main character in this is named Frankenstein.
That's pretty great. It makes me want to watch it all the more.
All right, I think we're going to wrap up with that. I want to thank Don and Dave and Rodney for being with us this episode, along with special guest Tumble. If you enjoyed this podcast, please donate to the official Geekbox Mumble server. It's where we record it and also where we hang out and talk. And if you'd like to participate in this podcast, like Don and Dave and Rodney, you can send a PM to Mr. X, Totoro, or me, Dakazu, at the Geekbox forums at forums.geekbox.net. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and listen to the other podcasts, Geekbox, Comic Conspiracy, The Comedy Button, and Good Job Britain. And that's about it. I think we'll just end with my outro. I love you.
Cool.
I know.
I can't post the song to this channel.
You really should end with like the dying sound of Pac-Man.
You can play this song.
Hang loose, Howleys.
That's for the other podcast.
That should be every podcast.